In the last three parts, Rogue Grand Admiral Demetrius Zaarin had betrayed the Galactic Empire in a failed coup. During the Zaarin Insurrection, he had attempted to strip the Empire of its starfighter superiority by stealing the TIE Defender technology from his research platform. The attempt was unsuccessful, and two remaining TIE Defender prototypes were safely uploaded, and the staff, including the chief scientist, would escape. However, in an ambush, pirates kidnapped the scientist and made off with the two prototype TIE Defenders. The pirates decided to ransom the scientist to the highest bidder, who was the Galactic Empire. And as the highest bidder, the Empire agreed to trade the scientist at Killamar. Unfortunately for the pirates, they had underestimated the Empire's resolve to recover the scientist, as the single sole gunboat they allowed as escort was piloted by Mark Steele, who, after receiving the signal full speed to Killamar, attacked the pirates' transport and disabled it, with the interdictor Red Claw trapping the pirates and preventing their escape. Despite the success of this ambush, the Red Claw remained stranded above Killamar, leaving it vulnerable to enemy attack. With the TIE Defender scientist having not yet been extracted, and the entire crew now an easy target for the pirates, as well as Admiral Zaarin's forces, the Red Claw called for immediate assistance in replacing its damaged hyperdrive. Imperial High Command then dispatched two strike cruisers to reinforce the stricken vessel, sending ahead corvettes from Chemeti Group to deliver the replacement parts for the hyperdrive. Chemeti 1 would extract the TIE Defender scientist and pirate prisoners to a safe location, while Chemeti 2 delivered new drives. Marek Steele was charged with defending the Red Claw until help arrived. Chemeti 1 was the first vessel to arrive and provide aid for the Red Claw, informing them that Chemeti 2 had been delayed but would proceed with its mission to rescue the scientist. At the moment, Zaarin's TIE Defenders entered the area, breaking up into four groups that simultaneously attacked the Red Claw, its defending fighters, Chemeti 1, and Steele himself. Zaarin's forces attacked relentlessly and inflicted heavy losses on the Red Claw's defenders, but still sustained heavy losses as Steele and his allies fought back. Their defenses proved successful as Chemeti 1 docked with the interdictor and picked up the scientists as well as the pirate prisoners. The corvette then fled into hyperspace before it could be intercepted by Zaarin's forces. Zaarin was soon forced to break off the attack as Steele routed his forces. Following the failure of this attack, Chemeti 1 and 2 emerged from hyperspace carrying the needed replacement parts to repair the Red Claw. Upon seeing the re-emergence of Chemeti 1, mere moments after it had left, the Imperials realized that the previous craft under the name was in fact an impostor loyal to Grand Admiral Zaarin, and that they had been deceived into handing over the scientists and their prisoners to their enemy. Zaarin then followed up his attack with an assault led by a strike cruiser, intending to finish off the interdictor before it could escape. Chemeti Group suggested that the crew of the Red Claw prepare to abandon ship, but the Imperials were determined to save the vessel. Steele and his surviving wingmen engaged the strike force, while Chemeti 2 raced to save the Red Claw. Zaarin attacked with a wing of TIE advanced starfighters, but these were swiftly routed by Steele's wing. As Steele attacked and destroyed them, Chemeti 2 successfully delivered the new hyperdrive to the Red Claw, with the crew moving swiftly to have installed, saving the Red Claw from imminent destruction at the hands of Zaarin. The Battle of Killamar proved to be a major setback for the Empire. Despite having inflicted enormous losses on Zaarin and the pirates, they had failed to recognize the deceit instrumented by the Grand Admiral and unwittingly surrendered one of their most skillful scientists over to Zaarin, who would go on to exploit his technological knowledge for his own purposes of producing TIE Defenders. Having collaborated with the pirates in setting the terms for the failed ransom, Zaarin sold the TIE Defender technology to the pirates and eventually transferred custody of the scientist over to them, with both sides forcing him to further develop the means for them to mass-produce the TIE Defender for use against the loyalist Imperials. The procurement of the TIE Defender technology by Zaarin and his accomplices further endangered galactic security, creating fear among the Imperial High Command that eventually such technology could fall into the hands of their main opponents, being the Rebel Alliance. Determined to prevent this from occurring, Admiral Thrawn was assigned by the Emperor himself to track down and destroy all enemy TIE Defenders in order to isolate the spread of this technology. The ultimate failure in rescuing the scientist had major consequences for the entire crew of the Red Claw as well. Despite their valiant defense of the vessel, it had sustained heavy damage during the battle, and the command crew had fallen for Zaarin's ruse, and Mark Steele would be spared due to his superb piloting skills. However, the commanding officer of the Red Claw would face the wrath of Darth Vader for failing to recognize Zaarin's defeat, and if you know anything about Darth Vader, you know how this went down. Despite this strategic failure, the battle wasn't without its successes. The Imperial Navy had destroyed the pirates by demolishing their main force and leaving their remnants unable to stage any further attacks against the Empire. Additionally, the pirates who were aligned with Admiral Zaarin had lost irreplaceable numbers of vessels, in addition to their efforts to destroy the Red Claw being a failure. The Red Claw itself also lived to fight another day, and it was upon the conclusion of the battle that Thrawn announced to the Emperor his plans for a new missile boat, a starfighter he had intended to use to tip the scales in the Empire's favor in the hunt for Zaarin. There was some other stuff as well, where Thrawn and the Empire defeated 2 pirate factions and a Rebel Alliance force, and after those issues were resolved in a couple of battles, the Empire could now refocus their primary objective to hunting down Zaarin. Thrawn was promoted to the rank of Grand Admiral by Palpatine himself, taking Zaarin's former place, and he was tasked with locating and destroying the rogue Grand Admiral and his loyal command. Thrawn resumed his efforts in tracking down the traitorous Grand Admiral Zaarin. And that is the end of Part 4. With only 2 parts left, how long do you think Grand Admiral Zaarin has left, and how much damage do you think he will do to the Empire? Write in the comments, and thank you for watching.